The debt's price. The low hum of the ship's engine vibrated through the cold metal floor beneath the human's boots. The small room was dimly lit, shadows pooling in every corner. In the center, a single table stood, scarred and worn. On one side, an alien figure waited, tall and rigid, with eyes that glimmered like distant stars but carried the weight of centuries. Across from him, a human man sat, fingers tapping nervously on the table's edge. Between them stood a young woman, neither fully alien nor human, a living bridge between worlds. The alien's voice broke the silence. It was deep, gravelly, and quiet, like a whispered command from some ancient force. "I give her to you." The woman looked up. Her eyes, a swirling mix of violet and green, searched the human's face. Her lips trembled, but no words came. The human swallowed hard, uncertainty knotting his throat. "Why her?" he asked, voice barely steady. "Why the daughter?" The alien's gaze didn't falter, but his eyes darkened. For a long moment he said nothing. The air was thick with tension. Neither spoke. The hum of the ship filled the void. Suddenly footsteps echoed in the hallway outside. The human glanced toward the door, instincts alert. "Is this really the only way?" The human whispered, his voice almost pleading. The alien nodded once, a sharp motion. "Debt must be settled. One life. For many." The young woman's hand brushed the alien's arm. A silent farewell. Her eyes locked on the human's, pleading for understanding. The door hissed open. A shadow stepped inside, another alien, taller, clad in dark armor. His expression was unreadable, but the coldness in his eyes told the human all he needed to know. Time was running out. The human rose slowly, heart pounding. "I don't understand this tradition, but I'll protect her. That's all I promise." The alien father's lips twitched, almost a smile. "That is all I ask." As the armored alien reached for the woman, she stepped forward, defiant now. "I'm not a prize," she said softly. "I'm not a debt." The room held its breath. The human looked at her, seeing not a commodity but a person caught between worlds. Between loyalty and freedom. The alien's voice was cold again. "It is not your choice." The woman's eyes flashed. "Then I will make my own choice." Before anyone could react, the lights flickered and the ship jolted violently. The human grabbed her arm. "Hold on!" Outside the room, the hum shifted to a roar. Something was coming, something dangerous. The alien father looked torn, the weight of centuries in his eyes. "This is only the beginning," he said. The door burst open, and in the flashing lights, the human and alien stood, facing a future neither understood. Secrets of the debt, the sharp roar of the ship's engines, faded into a heavy silence, broken only by the soft beeping of control panels and distant footsteps echoing down the metal corridors. The dim lighting cast long shadows on the walls, and the tension in the small room had not lessened. The human, named Marcus, stood near the large viewport, staring out into the vast emptiness of space. Beyond the reinforced glass, stars glittered, like distant diamonds, indifferent to the quiet storm unfolding inside the ship. He tried to steady his breath, but the weight of the alien father's words pressed heavily on his mind. Debt must be settled. One life for many. What did that mean? How had this strange man come to owe such a terrible price? His gaze shifted. To the young woman, Lyra. Her features were delicate but marked by a fierce determination that defied the circumstances. Despite the alien's offer, she was no mere token or bargaining chip. Marcus sensed her inner conflict, the battle raging between her loyalty to her father's people and her yearning for freedom. He moved closer to her. "Lyra," he said gently, "I want to understand. Why did your father do this? Why hand you over?" Lyra's violet-green eyes flickered with pain. "It is the way of my people, the debts we owe. They are more than numbers or credits. They are blood and honor." Marcus frowned. blood and honor. But what kind of debt is so great that it demands this? She looked away. Not all debts are spoken of openly. Some are whispered only in shadows. Marcus frowned deeper, curiosity and unease mixing inside him. He remembered the armored alien, Kal, standing silently in the doorway, watching their conversation like a sentinel. He was a reminder that this was no ordinary exchange. Suddenly, the ship's comm panel buzzed. Marcus glanced at it and picked up the receiver. "This is Commander Voss," a calm voice said. "Report status. Do you have the daughter?" Marcus glanced at Lyra, then back to the panel. "Yes, Commander, she's with me." There was a pause. "Good, but be warned, the debt is not only yours to bear. There are those who watch closely. Don't trust anyone." The call ended, leaving an uneasy silence. Lyra's gaze darkened. "He speaks of the collectors. They enforce the debts, merciless, unforgiving." Marcus's mind raced. This debt was no simple agreement, it was a prison. He needed answers. The next hours were a blur of questions, uneasy answers, and subtle observation. Marcus and Lyra sat in a small room, shadows playing across their faces as she slowly shared what she could. "My father," she began, voice low, "owed a great debt to the Council of Stars. They govern the trade and politics of many worlds. When a debt is not repaid, they demand collateral." Marcus's eyes widened. "Collateral? You mean like you?" She nodded solemnly. "Yes, it is a tradition passed down for generations. To repay a debt, a family may be forced to sacrifice a member, usually a child, one who can carry the weight and possibly change fate." "How do they decide who?" Marcus asked. Lyra hesitated. "It is not always fair. Sometimes it is the youngest, the weakest, or those who show potential. I was chosen because of what I represent, hope for a new alliance." Marcus struggled to grasp the complexity. "But why hand you to a human? To me?" The corners of her mouth twitched, almost a sad smile. "Because humans are unpredictable. We hope you will protect me, and maybe change the system from within." Suddenly the ship shuddered again, jolting everyone. Kal's voice crackled over the comm. "We have company. Unknown vessels approaching." Marcus's heart jumped. The warning from Commander Voss echoed in his mind. "Don't trust anyone." Lyra stood, her eyes sharp. "The collectors have found us. They won't let this debt go unpaid." The seconds stretched, thick with dread. Outside the ship, alien crafts materialized from the dark void, sleek and menacing. Their lights pierced the blackness, and Marcus, who could feel the tension rising. Inside, Marcus prepared himself. He wasn't just a bystander anymore. Lyra's fate, and perhaps many others, now depended on him. Suddenly a loud bang echoed through the corridor. The ship's alarms blared. Kal burst into the room. "They are boarding us. We have to move. Now!" Marcus grabbed Lyra's hand. "Stay close." They moved quickly through the narrow corridors, heading toward the escape pods. Along the way, Marcus glimpsed signs of a larger conflict. Damaged walls, signs of struggle. It was clear this was no random attack. They reached the escape bay, just as the first attackers breached the ship's defenses. Alien soldiers in dark armor flooded the halls, their faces hidden behind cold helmets. Lyra glanced at Marcus. "This is no longer just about the debt. It's about power." The escape pod doors hissed open, and they climbed inside. "Launching in 3, 2, 1, Marcus said, pressing the controls. The pod shook violently as it broke free from the ship. Outside, the mothership erupted in chaos. As the pod drifted into the unknown, Marcus looked at Lyra, his resolve hardening. "We need to find out what's really behind this debt, and why your father gave you away." Her eyes met his, a mixture of fear and hope. "This is only the beginning," she said. "A hidden agenda." The small escape pod drifted silently through the void, a fragile speck against the vast backdrop of stars. Inside, Marcus kept a tight grip on the controls, eyes scanning the blinking panels for any sign of danger. Beside him, Lyra sat quietly, her gaze distant as if she were searching for something beyond the endless black outside. They had escaped the assault, but their journey was far from over. Marcus finally broke the silence. "Where can we go?" "The collectors will be hunting us." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "There is a place, an underground network. Not just humans, but aliens who oppose the Council's brutal rule. They call themselves the Veil." "The Veil?" Marcus repeated, curiosity sharpening his focus. "What do they want?" "To end the debt system," she said firmly. "They believe no one should be traded like property. They fight in the shadows because the Council's power is absolute." Marcus let the words sink in. The more he learned, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a personal matter. It was a galaxy-wide struggle. "Do you trust them?" he asked cautiously. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "I have no choice." The pod's small engine thrummed as it changed course toward a remote asteroid belt. An uncharted region whispered about among spacefarers as the Veil's refuge. The journey would take days, and Marcus and Lyra used the time to learn more about each other. She spoke quietly of her homeworld, a beautiful but harsh planet where honor and family were everything. Her voice carried the weight of generations, of tradition, yet beneath it lay a rebellious spark. "I never wanted to be a pawn," Lyra admitted. "My father thought this was the only way to save our family. But now, I want to choose my own path." Marcus nodded, sharing a memory of his own struggles back on Earth, the feeling of being trapped by expectations and duty. The connection grew between them, not just alliance, but something deeper, forged in uncertainty and hope. As the pod entered the asteroid field, sensors flickered. With interference, suddenly a hidden ship emerged from behind a massive rock, its sleek black hull blending into the shadows. "Veil vessel," Lyra whispered. A docking beam extended, and the pod was pulled inside. The interior of the larger ship was dim but alive with activity. Humans and aliens moved quietly, exchanging nods and whispers. Marcus felt eyes on him, curious, wary. A woman approached, her expression sharp but welcoming. "I'm Captain Rhea. You're safe here, for now." Lyra stepped forward. "We need your help. The debt system, it's worse than anyone knows." Rhea nodded grimly. "We've heard rumors. Families torn apart, lives sold like currency. The Council controls everything, commerce, law, even history. The Veil exists to fight that control." Marcus studied the room. There was a sense of fragile hope, but also danger. He knew trust here was earned, not given. Rhea led them to a private chamber. "We have information about the daughter's disappearance. She was taken by a faction loyal to the Council, a group called the Enforcers." Marcus clenched his fists. "We have to find her." Rhea's eyes were hard. "It won't be easy. The Enforcers are ruthless, but we have a plan." The plan was risky, a covert mission to infiltrate an Enforcer base on a distant moon. It was a place where debtors and their collateral were kept under tight control, hidden from the galaxy's gaze. Marcus felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just about saving Lyra. It was about exposing a system that crushed countless lives. Lyra's voice was steady. "If I'm to be free, I have to face what my father could not." The mission team prepared in silence. Aliens and humans alike checked weapons and gear, faces set with grim resolve. As they approached the moon, Marcus's heart pounded. The Enforcer base loomed like a fortress, surrounded by harsh terrain and surveillance drones. The team split into two groups, Marcus and Lyra with a small unit tasked with locating the prisoners, while the others created distractions. Inside, the base cold metal corridors echoed with distant voices. Prisoners, alien and human alike, whispered stories of loss and hope. Lyra's eyes searched every face, longing for a sign. Suddenly, a distant scream echoed through the halls. Marcus grabbed Lyra's arm. "Stay close." They moved deeper into the complex, navigating a maze of security systems and patrols. The tension was suffocating. Finally, they found her. Lyra's sister, Alara, was among the prisoners, weakened but alive. Tears streamed down Lyra's face as she rushed to her side. Alara whispered, "You came. I never lost hope." The reunion was brief. Alarms blared suddenly. An ambush. The enforcers had discovered the intrusion. Chaos exploded. Marcus and the team fought desperately, covering the prisoner's escape. Lyra stayed by her sister, helping her navigate the crumbling corridors. In the chaos, a shocking truth was revealed. A traitor within the veil, feeding information to the council. Marcus caught a glimpse of the betrayer's face. Someone he had trusted. Betrayal cut deeper than any weapon. As the team fled the base, heavy losses weighing on them, Marcus's resolve hardened. "This war isn't just about debt," he said. "It's about justice, trust, and survival." Lyra nodded, her eyes blazing. "And it's just beginning." Shadows of betrayal. The cold air of the Veil's ship felt heavier than ever. Outside the viewport, stars flickered in the vast blackness. But inside, tension filled every corner like a storm ready to break. Marcus paced the cramped room, mind racing. The revelation of a traitor within their ranks cut deeper than any wound from battle. Trust, already fragile, was now shattered. Lyra sat beside her sister Alara, who was resting but clearly weak. The reunion was bittersweet. Joy mixed with the harsh reality that their fight was far from over. "We can't let this betrayal stop us," Marcus said, voice firm but weary. "But we need to find out who it is before they destroy everything." Captain Rhea stood by the console, eyes sharp. "We've locked down communications. No one leaves or enters without our knowledge. The traitor is one of us." Lyra's gaze hardened. "I won't let my family suffer because of someone's greed or fear." The days that followed were tense and exhausting. The Veil's members grew suspicious of each other, whispers and glances filling the air. Every decision was weighed with caution. Marcus volunteered to lead the investigation, determined to root out the traitor. It was the only way to save Lyra's family, and the hope the Veil represented. Investigation and discovery using the ship's surveillance logs. Marcus and Rhea began tracing anomalies. Small breaches in security protocols, unauthorized data access, and unexplained movements painted a troubling picture. Hours turned into days as they pieced together clues. One night, Marcus noticed a pattern, a series of encrypted messages sent from a hidden terminal deep within the ship. The sender was careful, but not careful enough. Following the trail, Marcus confronted a Veil member, a quiet technician named Talin. His face was pale, eyes flickering with fear and guilt. "You have to understand," Talin whispered. "They have my family. The council threatened them if I didn't cooperate." Marcus's jaw tightened. "You betrayed us. You betrayed your own." Talin looked away, ashamed. "I had no choice. The cost of loyalty." "Despite the betrayal," Talin offered. "Critical information, a plan the enforcers were preparing. They intended to launch a devastating strike against the Veil's stronghold, aimed at crushing the rebellion once and for all." Rhea quickly mobilized defenses, but the threat loomed closer. Lyra paced the command deck, tension racking her body. Her mind raced through memories of her father, the debt he owed, and the life she had been forced to live. "We have to stop them," she said fiercely, "or everything we fight for will be lost." A new ally as the Veil prepared for battle. A sudden transmission crackled through the comm system. Unknown origin, encrypted, urgent. Marcus decoded the message. "If you want to end the debt, find the archive." The archive? a legend among rebels, a hidden vault of forbidden knowledge and secrets long buried by the Council. Lyra's eyes sparkled with hope. This could change everything. The mission begins. The Veil sent a small team to locate the archive, a dangerous quest deep into forbidden territory on a remote planet. Marcus, Lyra, and Rhea volunteered, knowing the risks. The planet was harsh, barren landscapes and ancient. Ruins whispered of forgotten civilizations. As they ventured deeper, shadows moved in the distance, watching, waiting. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a mysterious structure, an ancient library filled with technology and data from eons past. Inside, they uncovered startling truths: the origins of the debt system, the manipulation by the Council, and a possible way to dismantle the entire corrupt order. A choice with consequences, but the archive came with a warning. Unlocking its power could expose the Veil and trigger a catastrophic response from the Council. Lyra faced a choice: risk everything for freedom or retreat to fight another day. Her voice was steady, determined. "We take the risk for those who cannot fight." As they activated the archive's mainframe, alarms blared. They had been discovered. The price of truth. The shrill alarm echoed through the ancient archive's halls like a warning from the past itself. The soft hum of the mainframe was quickly overtaken by the rapid footsteps of approaching enforcers. Marcus, Lyra, and Rhea exchanged grim looks. There was no time to hesitate. "We triggered their sensors," Rhea hissed. "We need to move now." Lyra grabbed the data core that pulsed with forbidden knowledge, the secrets of the debt system, the Council's dark manipulations, and the blueprint to dismantle their control. The weight of generations rested in her hands. Marcus activated the ship's emergency beacon, broadcasting a desperate signal to the Veil fleet. They had to warn their allies before the Council's forces crushed them, a narrow escape. The team sprinted through the labyrinthine corridors of the archive, shadows twisting and distorting under flickering lights. Enforcers swarmed like a relentless tide, weapons raised and voices shouting orders. Lyra felt her heart pounding, not just from fear, but from the crushing responsibility of what they carried. Suddenly, a squad blocked their path. Rhea took charge. "Cover us!" she commanded. The small team engaged in a tense firefight. Blaster bolts ricocheted off the walls, sparks flying. Marcus moved with swift precision, covering Lyra as she guided Alara and other prisoners to safety. Betrayal revealed. In the chaos, a familiar face appeared. Talon, the technician who had betrayed the Veil before. "Stop!" he shouted, raising his weapon but hesitating. His eyes flickered between the enforcers and his former allies. For a split second, doubt clouded his gaze. Lyra seized the moment. "Why are you doing this? There's still time to change." "Talon's," voice cracked. "They have my family, but maybe I was wrong." With a sudden move, Talon turned his weapon against the enforcers, creating an opening for the Veil to escape. The Council's shadow as they fled the planet. The gravity of their discovery weighed heavily. The archive's data was a double-edged sword. It could liberate the galaxy, but also paint a target on their backs. Back on the Veil's flagship, Marcus and Lyra pored over the files. The debt system was worse than anyone imagined. A centuries-old conspiracy woven through politics, economics, and even history itself. "We have to expose this," Marcus said firmly, "but the Council will come after us with everything they've got," Lyra warned. "We need a plan." Unexpected allies. Just as despair threatened to take hold, an encrypted transmission arrived. It was from a mysterious source, an influential figure within the Council itself, risking everything to help the Veil. "I've seen the corruption," the voice confessed. "We can end this. Meet me on Ceres Station." Lyra and Marcus exchanged glances. This was their chance, and their greatest risk yet. The calm before the storm as the Veil prepared to rendezvous. On Ceres Station, a moment of quiet descended. Lyra stood by the viewport, looking out at the stars. Distant, cold, but full of possibility. Her thoughts drifted to her father, to the sacrifice that had set this chain of events in motion. "This is bigger than me," she whispered. Marcus approached, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "Together we can change everything." But beneath the calm, the storm was gathering. The council was mobilizing. The final battle for freedom was near. The debt repaid, freedom's price. The sterile halls of Ceres Station felt colder than the vacuum outside. Marcus and Lyra moved. Carefully, shadows trailing them as they approached the rendezvous point with their mysterious council ally. The weight of everything, the daughter handed over, the betrayal, the rebellion, the secrets, pressed down on them. This meeting could change the fate of the galaxy. The meeting in a private chamber, they met the contact, a calm, measured woman named Senator Maris Valen. "I risk everything by being here," Maris said quietly. "The council is rotten from within, but it's time to tear down this corrupt system." She laid out evidence, damning files, proving the council's manipulation of the debt system for centuries, exploiting alien and human lives alike. The daughter's fate was just one thread in a web of control. "We need a united front," Maris explained. "Your Veil, my faction within the council. Together we can expose this to the galaxy." Betrayal. Within suddenly, alarms blared. The station's security systems lit red. Maris's face tightened. They knew we'd come. Enforcers flooded the corridors. A chilling realization hit Marcus. There was another traitor, even closer than before. The final stand. The team split, fighting through the station's corridors. Marcus and Lyra moved toward the broadcast center, their only chance to share the truth. Rhea and Maris held back the enforcers, buying time. Lyra's heart pounded, fueled by desperation and hope. The daughter's future, their family's futures, depended on this moment. Broadcasting the truth. Reaching the control room, Marcus began hacking the station's systems. "We have to get this out to every planet, every ship," he said. Lyra loaded the archive's data, the proof of corruption and injustice. With a deep breath, Marcus pressed send. The message spread across communication networks, igniting sparks of rebellion throughout the galaxy, sacrifice and redemption. But the cost was high. In the ensuing chaos, Maris was gravely wounded, sacrificing herself to hold off the enforcers. Tallinn, who had returned to fight alongside the Veil, saved Marcus from a fatal blow but paid with his life. The daughter's choice. Amid the turmoil, the daughter, Lyra's sister Alara, stepped forward. "I'm not a debt," she declared. "I am my own person." Her words resonated across the broadcast. She refused to be a symbol of debt or sacrifice. Aftermath. The council's grip weakened as planets and factions questioned their authority. The Veil emerged stronger, united by the truth. Lyra, Marcus, and the survivors vowed to rebuild, not with control and debt, but with freedom and trust. A lesson learned in a quiet moment. Lyra reflected on the journey. "The debt was more than credits or power," she said softly. "It was fear, fear of change, of losing control. But humanity, and all species, are stronger when we trust each other, when we fight for freedom." Marcus nodded. "This is just the beginning." Epilogue. Years later, the galaxy had changed. Debt and slavery were relics of the past. Lyra stood on a peaceful planet watching children, human and alien, playing together. She smiled, knowing the true debt had been repaid, not with sacrifice or control, but with hope and freedom. The end.